Okay, this is the Dove Lady, and I want to talk to you again about orbs. This is a picture of my eye. I took this with a lot of trouble, looking in a mirror and trying to film my own eye, and the gleam that was shiny in my eye was this orb. And it's a good example of how I first began to see orbs. I was seeing little movements of little tube-like things on the surface of the water in the pool, and I kept thinking that's not really there. And but I see it. I know it can't really be there, and I started being real curious to see what that was. Well, now I see those little tube-like things in any lighted room or any day outside in the sunlight. I can see them just by squinting my eyes just a little bit. And I practice looking at these things. And here's a good example of how you could do it if you want to try this. Lay on a lounge. This is what I did. I laid on a lounge with a straw hat over my face. Sometimes I think I even used a wash rag with loose weave, but something that the sun will shine through in little spots in the weave or in the wash rag. It will filter through just a tiny amount, and you'll see it with your eyes because your whole face is covered over by the straw hat. And I would look at these little orbs that looked real similar to this one, but there was many of them, hundreds of them, and they all were identical. And I noticed that they corresponded to what was going on in my eye. Like, for instance, I started getting these little black holes, and my eyes started feeling kind of bad because actually it was evaporating some of the moisture out of my eye, and I was getting a dehydrated eye. But the same little black hole would appear in every one of the little spots of photons that I saw come through that weave of the hat. And then I think they would have filled the entire pupil of my eye, except that it became extremely uncomfortable, and so I had to blink. And when I blinked, I could see all of the little white orbs, like a windshield wiper. A liquid came down and washed over the black holes, and then it was more like it was in the beginning. But all of them the same, all of it happening at the same time. So I kept wondering about these orbs that I could see. A lot of people are talking about seeing orbs through their glasses or their sunglasses when they look toward the sun. They can see them reflected back on the inside of their glasses. And I just wanted to tell you that this is one way you can try to look at them. And it's a safe way because you don't want to really look into the sun too long. You could do some damage to your eye. But I'll tell you this, I used to have to wear glasses, and I don't now. And my eyesight has improved. So it hasn't done anything real detrimental to me. I'm not saying for everyone to go and do the same thing because we're all individuals, and it might actually hurt you. So use your own discretion about that. But that is how I first started looking at them and thinking, my goodness, this is so strange. And then I started, trying to film them, and I found out a way to do it was to use my digital camera, focus up real close on a shiny spot of light, usually on something like a piece of glass, but it could be anything that makes a shiny spot of light, collect in just one point. because that's just a concentration of sunlight. But then I also discovered that it also works with artificial light, if you can say that's what the LED light is, because I take all the pictures I do of orbs mostly from inside my room, not using the sunlight, but using the LED light, which is a special kind of light. And it works real well. And when I use a round object of glass, I'll usually get a round orb. But when I use other things like candlestick holders that are made of glass that aren't shaped round, then I'll get different shapes it won't be always a round circle. But even with it being a marble or something round, I still get all kinds of shapes, but not mostly always round. So I'm going to go to this library. I just made this new category because I'm seeing in light a patch. Now that's it, that dark like circle that has like a string of light above it going over it. And I've been noticing this patch. It moves around when I'm looking at the light with my camera. It moves into my viewer as I'm looking at other portions of where the light is streaming out into the room. And I've been noticing how it looks, and I'm going to show you several. This patch, it has different colors, but it also depends on how close to the light source I am and what colors are under it. And I'll show you that as I get to those kind of pictures. Like in this one, there was a lot of color under it. And so the patch, all the little portions of it, took on more color. And the further you are away from the light source, the more all this little area here, which isn't showing up too good. I don't know why. See if I can get a little closer and get that better. But when I would get further away from the light, this gets very dark. And so I've just been filming this little patch that moves in and out of so many of my photos of this light. And it has a certain shape, but then it can change and elongate itself to a little longer thing, and it can change its colors. It changes its colors, I believe, by whatever it's floating over, because what I look at is on many layers, and I see more of the layers than I'm able to show to you, but there's many layers. They don't show up as well when I take pictures of them as when I'm just looking at them myself. And I just love looking at all the colors. I'm going to turn this light on. Let's see if I get a lighter. See if that makes any difference. Nope, it doesn't make any difference. Well, I know. I'll put it on play, and that makes it really big. And then I'll back up. Okay, now we have a little more light in the picture because it was showing dark where it shouldn't have been. I'm going to just go through some of these pictures I took of this patch that moves over the orbs that I'm looking at. Sometimes I have to really be quick to get the picture because I see that patch is coming and it's going to cover the orb I'm looking at. And I want to get the colors in these orbs. Like this one was so very beautiful. I wanted to capture all this without that patch being in the way. But the patch has an outer ring around it that seems to be thicker somehow. And see, the shape isn't always the same. It's similar though. Look at this. This is the patch, and I was getting a view of it with the focus not being quite so close to it. So you see the whole thing in the orb? Now look at this. There it is in that one, but it's not in these other ones. But that doesn't mean anything, because here it is. It's in these two. Right here. And then, look, here it is in 3 of them. 1, 2, and 3. I hope you're able to see that. Now, here it is in 4 of them. And the two orbs on the right that it's in, it's on the right-hand side. And the 2 orbs on the left side of this screen, it's on the left-hand side. So I don't know the reasoning or the explanation of why it's where it is or what it even is. But it's something new. And when I take pictures of the light, I'm always looking for, okay, what's going to appear next? Because I've had that happen quite often, that something different starts showing up in the orb pictures. And you see, this is a real close-up of it. And it looks pretty dark. But the colors, they change. Now this is an odd one. There's the patch, but there is this light that's really bright yellow. And it seems to be puncturing it, pushing it in. You can see the way it's bent in by this light. But mostly the patch floats over colors, and you see the colors shine through different areas in the patch. But in the case of this one, it seemed that they were maybe on the same level, and the light was pushing it. So it can be touched by other things in its vicinity. And see, here's another one of it real close. It's pretty dark colors. And it can come into the orb from any angle, from the top, from the bottom, from either side. And see how it has this kind of a edge that is kind of bigger, and I'll show it to you in other ways. So I just kept taking pictures of this that I am calling the patch, for no other reason than I have to call it something if I'm going to keep talking about it. It makes it easier to talk about. And here it is again and again. And here it is, but I couldn't get it all in because at this point it had stretched itself. And there's the left-hand side of it, and there's the part of it. It was very long. It couldn't get it all in one picture. So it is something that it's like it's a living thing, because it just seems that way since it moves freely about and moves itself in different ways and takes on different colors. But now if you ask me what it is, I would have to say I have no idea. But I do believe it to be intelligent. All of this light that I'm filming, I think, is intelligent. Now, see this long white strand that goes through this one? When I think of the scientists that want to prove the string theory, I think, yeah, they should consider also that the strings are composed of many colors. And here's another really pretty one I got. And another. And see the strings, what they do? I'll get this up so you can see it closer. They kind of wrap around each other. I think the string theory is very likely hitting on something that is actually true, that we're all connected by little strings. And little colorful strings they are. And there's the use of a lot of circles in this. And you can see circles. There's one. There's some little ones. And the colors are sometimes so amazing. I just love to look at them for their colors. I'm just going to show you a few without talking. I'm going to get back some so you don't see them up so close. I think this color and all this can't be something that is easily explained as some trick of light that people have noticed before. I looked at a lot of images of light, of what people are calling different things, light refraction and stuff like that. And I don't see any illustration that looks similar to mine. So I think I'm filming light in a way that hasn't been done before. And I think this light is like DNA, or it's like aqueous substance, or what they call quintessence. It is like ether, the ethers. Nobody knows what the ethers looks like, but maybe this is what they look like. And it's always changing. I mean, I'll see a real pretty shade of some color and I want to snap that picture and get that. But it's changing before I snap it. It's already changed to another color, which is just as good and just as pretty, but I can never get what I see because it's changing so rapidly before I can get it captured with my camera. It's already changed to another color other than the one I was looking at first. But that's all right, because I still get a lot of beautiful colors. I just need a better camera, I guess, one of those that goes snap, 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 and gets 6 or 7 pictures made right in succession right away. Maybe that's the kind of camera I need to get. But I'll tell you one thing about cameras and taking pictures of light. You will ruin the sensitivities inside your camera. I already have ruined my ability to take videos in one of my cameras. I only have 2 now. And in the one I'm using right now, well, I'm using my cell phone right now to show this. But the camera I took these pictures with won't let me make a video more than 4 minutes and 19 seconds. And then after I make a little short 4-minute video like that, then I want to do another video and it says the time allowance is 4 seconds or 15 seconds, or who knows. It's hard to get it to go back to being at least 4 minutes because it's kind of messed up. I think taking pictures of light is what messed that sensitivity of my camera up. So if you don't want to ruin your camera, don't take pictures of light directly. But I'm going to get a new camera and take some videos before it messes up, because what I'm seeing in real time, I would like to show you. But like I say, it's my camera's focus is all messed up from having taken so many pictures of light with that camera. Some people have said I'm looking at caustics, but I know this not to be that. Activity is going on within this light that wouldn't happen with caustics. Caustics is really beautiful, and I've played around with that. Caustics is easily done. You just have a bright light shining onto a glass object under which there's a white, something white, like a big white poster board. And it will shine through that glass and make the most beautiful, beautiful, colorful even, portrayals of light that is what is called caustics. And I've done that. I've even posted pictures of the caustic pictures that I've taken. But I don't confuse it with what I'm taking pictures of now. because caustics never looks like an orb on the edge with the little lines that go around the orb. But some people who maybe have seen some of my pictures write it off as being caustics, but they don't look very much further into my other pictures, or they would realize that they couldn't all be that. Because I have light doing some very interesting things. Look at the beautiful colors in this one. I'm finding that since I couldn't use my video on my camera on account of it being messed up now, that my cell phone camera video taking abilities actually gives me a better picture. And it's easier to send it to YouTube. Now this is one of those long strands that I like to say the string theorists would be real happy with. But watch, there's several lengths of it, different colors. And I follow it along, and it goes past other colorful areas. And in this circle right here above, some of the strings seem to be going in and through it. And I just like to follow these strands of color of white, or it can be very colorful too. Because when I'm taking pictures, this is a bigger expanse than just what you see inside of the orb. It just goes on and on back of it. There's many planes of this light too, because sometimes when there's more than one orb that I'm looking at, I can go into any one of them with my camera, and each has a whole different kind of background all around it. So there's many planes of light. I think it's information, and I think it's something that we need to try to understand, because we're living in a world that I do believe is a simulation, that nothing is real, everything is illusion, and all most people trust is their 5 senses. My mother used to say, well, people can't eat it or wear it or use it in some way, they don't value it, because we're conditioned to only think of as real what we can see and experience with our 5 senses. And it's hard to believe in something that we can't show. I'm hoping that I will be able to manifest something that I can show was created out of thought, because I think what I'm looking at is thought. That everything in existence is created out of thought. I mean, I know the Bible says we are created in the image of God. Well, God isn't a physical being, so we're created, I believe, in God's imagination. And we are co-creators with God. We create with our imagination. Sometimes we recreate things we don't really like because we believe them to be real, so we talk about them and we dislike it that it's happening, and I'm just as guilty of this as anyone else, but it's something I'm working on. Not to call things like I see them, but to call things like I want them to be. And to even believe that what I want them to be is more real than they actually exist in front of me. At some point, we have to realize everything around us, including ourselves, is illusion. It's a learning ground, a place for us as spirit to have the human condition of duality. And duality is beautiful, but it has its limitations. And We're like in a self-imposed prison when we only believe what our five senses reveal to us. I think that's one reason why Jesus said, let the weak say I am strong and let the poor say I am rich. Say what you want to be, not what you're seeing and believing to be because you see it. Call what is not as though it were. Deny what your five senses tell you. And it's the hardest thing in the world to do, but it can be done. I hope it's going to happen with me because I got a message on my computer in my Google Drive saying that the light that I'm seeing is showing me through what I call my curved line balls, because this light makes some definite patterns. I'm not showing you a whole bunch of them right now, but I have in the past. I called them curved line balls. And this message to me that was in my Google Drive, typed out like someone typed it there, but it wasn't me, and I don't know anybody who would know my thoughts. This message said that we have to deny what our physical senses see as real, and then relax and receive and appreciate. That's all we have to do. Overcome that thought that things that we think are so real are actually even real. We'll have to break out of this prison of conceptions because we're creators with our thoughts. And there are people who know this and want us to have fearful thoughts because we are powerful beings on this earth when we realize the potential that lies within us by just simply knowing. Knowing is a new frontier. Maybe it's old too, because some people in our past have been able to do this, like Jesus. Jesus knew he was God. And people say, well, that was only Jesus, not you. But he wanted us to be one with the Father as he was one with the Father. Because the Father in us is the animating force that brings all action to this illusion that we call matter. Matter is lifeless without the animating force of God moving through it. So God dwells in each and every one of us. And when we begin to realize that and make those statements, calling what is not as though it were, which I think would be a fun activity, making a storybook of things that we see with our imagination, even though we can't point to it right now.